The Giro d'Italia is live and on demand, each and every stage on GCN+. Turning up for stage 15 was a brand new leader, Bruno Armirail, decked out in pink, with Primož Roglic and company concentrating on the GC battle that was left over the remaining 7 stages. Stage 15 was the end of the second block of racing, a mini Giro di Lombardia. 4 of the famous climbs, often in the big race that's held in the autumn. This time in spring, but we'd had wintry weather for this point. Things, thankfully, are about to change. A couple of loops around Bergamo, the Città dei Mille in Italy, 2 rises and descents from its famous old town. 195 kilometres with 4,000 metres of climbing. The stage started with the predictable early attacks for the breakaway. A possibility that a break could go all day, and every effort made to try and get out there. In the end, a good group of riders, just under 20 in fact, got away. Einer Rubio would be the most dangerous in the general classification at over 11 minutes. He'd take a while to get there, but would reach the front as Groupama FDJ started to set the pace for Bruno Armirail, leading a Grand Tour for the first time in his career. The menu was a difficult one. Alberto Dainese, one of the few sprinters who made the breakaway, and he was already starting to struggle on the first climb, the Valico di Valcava. At the top of the climb, it was almost like a sprint finish. Elbows out for the King of the Mountains points. Ben Healy winning that particular battle against Einer Rubio. Sensational scenery, Selvino and all of its hairpins, and the gap looking like it was going to be let go for the break to stake the stage. Healy and Rubio once again going at it. And heading into the final climb of the day, again a sprinter trying to get up the road. Niccolò Bonifacio with a head start, but behind they would be ridden back on, or at least those who were strong enough. And when Bonifacio was caught, Marco Frigo, young Italian rider for Israel Premier Tech, would go away. McNulty would follow him. Healy would go after him as well, leaving Rubio behind. And then there were 3 with 35 k's to go. But not for long. Healy going it alone. Having already won a stage, attacking from 50 kilometres to go. This time it was a little closer. But this time too, he'd be well chased and well monitored. Brandon McNulty closing the gap bit by bit. He'd catch the Irishman on the descent, with Frigo at this point still at almost 40 seconds. But there'd be 3 once more together with 10 kilometres to go. 3 young men, 3 stars, all battling it out. Healy the strongest on the climbs, little doubt about that. Frigo dropped once more with 3.6 k's to go, just on the outskirts of modern Bergamo. In its old cobbled streets and hills, it was where it was played out. Healy and McNulty caught again, this time inside the final 500 metres. Frigo was really flying to give it his best. And he'd launch his sprint over the top. Healy closing the gap, McNulty coming around, and after 5 Grand Tours, a few times trying, Brandon McNulty would finally get his own victory in a Grand Tour stage. One of his objectives achieved. UAE taking their second win of the race. Congratulations all round after a hard-fought day. In the GC group, there'd be a few movements. João Almeida alongside Primož Roglic and Geraint Thomas driving things on the front. Just a couple of seconds of a gap between Thibaut Pinot and a couple of others caught behind. And Bruno Armirail losing just over half a minute, but retaining the Maglia Rosa and having over a minute of a lead going into the second rest day. All the glory to McNulty. A US stage win at the Giro d'Italia. Brandon McNulty beating Ben Healy and Marco Frigo. A lovely moment watched on by teammates. And with a couple of stage wins in the bag, UAE will now look to battle to help João Almeida onto the podium. The lead currently held by a Frenchman, the first time in a quarter of a century. Bruno Armirail will know that he will need a miracle if he's to stay there. But he goes into rest day 2 with a gap of 1:08 over Geraint Thomas. Roglic 2 seconds behind, and then it's Almeida. Leknesson hanging on well with the likes of Caruso, Kemna and company all in the top 10. Next up, a mighty mountain stage. Surely the race for the GC will be unpaused going into a hellish last week. A 5-star stage and a return to Monte Bondone for the first time since the noughties. Big mountain after big mountain. A couple of 100 kilometres, starting by the lakeside, heading into Trentino from Lombardia. And a proper stage with a fight for the pink jersey surely will get more aggressive. Rendezvous after the rest day then. The Maglia Rosa, still the Maillot Rose for now. How long will the Frenchman Bruno Mirail hold the lead? Will he be able to hang on? Or will it be the big GC men hoping to win this Giro d'Italia that start to take the race by the horns? You can watch each and every stage live and on demand on GCN+.